and panic. I don't feed into that because
Me
I
either.
go
I
back
agree.
to what God has for me is going to be for
That's
me.
right.
If I have faith that I'm going to have my husband, he says he will give me the desires of my heart.
That's right.
Then I have to believe on that.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
do.
not, and it's not in our time. It, trust me, it's not in our time. So keep yourself busy doing things that you're supposed to be doing, or find out what it is you're supposed to be doing and what brings you joy. Do some outreach.
Yeah.
Do something else.
But to feed off of what Jael said, you're 100% right. I think what we need to do is to be, there's so many women, like I talk to women and they tell me all the time, and that's what I do is talk. I prefer a married man. Women say that nowadays. I prefer. And
They're
you know,
just saying
and
that.
I always talk to
just
them,
saying
and I
that.
always ask them, well, why is it that you prefer? Because I want to know, why
Right,
is
absolutely.
it? And they say, number one, a married man knows how to take care of a family. So that means that if you're dealing with a single man who's never been married, they say he doesn't know what to do. But a married man, he knows, he has a wife. He knows what she needs. He knows what she needs. He, as far as bringing over groceries, just certain things that a
That's so
man.
warped.
But this is what women think. Number two, women say that they want their space. Okay,
I don't buy any of that.
This is what they say. If they have a married man, number one, he's not there every day. So you're able to do what you want to do, and also he's going to pay you. Because most of the time, let's be realistic, a married man, he has responsibilities. Most of the time, you're going to have to give a woman some money to shut her up. Okay, baby, you go shopping while I take my wife out or whatever. I can't come over. And that's what they say. I mean, even, I think Essence Magazine, they did a whole article about it, how black women are starting to say that, you know, they don't mind sharing.
Settling.
They're settling.
And then that's
Love
why
yourself.
Yeah.
they're
What
not
you need to
happy.
do.
No value.
And that's why you have a lot of black women looking old, raggedy, taggedy, and they're evil.
Because you're gonna
because
reap
they're
that.
not happy. No one, I will say that, again, back in the home, yes, if you was always swept to the side, if your parents or parent or guardian didn't think you were good enough or important enough for them to even go to one of your plays or go up to the school to see what was going on or to go to bat for you, then there's a self-esteem issue there again.
Right.
Because if mama didn't go to bat for you, daddy didn't go to bat for you, uncle and nobody you don't think you're worth it anyway. So of course you're going to settle for scraps. But who wants scraps?
I know I don't.
When I go to Red Lobster, I don't want somebody's leftovers.
No,
and
right.
no
You
one,
want your
if
own.
they want to keep it real, wants leftovers.
No. That's right.
So you're saying you want my vomit. No, you
Right.
don't.
Another thing I want to talk about is baby mamas. You know, right now, I think we talked about this in the first time, but we need to let people know that if you love someone, it's nothing wrong with getting married first. The younger generation, it seems like no one talks about marriage anymore. We all just want to sleep with this person. And then you want to blame the man when he's not taking care of a kid. It's not the man's fault. And I just want to be a woman to come out and says this. It's not always the man's fault. I think we have to understand is that we have to take responsibilities for our own bodies. Okay? And just because you sleep with a man and you get pregnant, is that all his fault? It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
But that child is still his responsibility.
I
If it's his,
understand.
I would suggest he gets
it's
a
his child, DNA.
DNA test
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
DNA
Definitely.
all
I tell
day.
Every man that.
Yes, because I think a lot of men know nowadays. I think it's horrible that they know the women are getting as bad as the men.
They're getting worse.
And I think
Yeah.
some women are changing because it's payback. But you know what? We're only hurting ourselves. Black women have a high rate, one of the highest rates
Of
in
AIDS,
AIDS.
yeah.
So we're only really hurting ourselves. It's just like if you say, well, if my man cheat on me, I'm going to cheat on him. I'm not using my body like that.
Well,
you
I
know?
have a girlfriend.
So I think he should
Yeah.
take care of the baby regardless, because if he laid down and made the baby, it's not the child's fault, if that's his child.
Well, I was watching a program, and it kind of just blew me away. And, you know, I used to agree with you, but I feel like I think this guy, he wrote a book, Women, what is it? Men Don't Cheat, They Hoe. And what he said is that, I mean, to me, he changed everything about the way I thought. Like, you look at how some guys are really good fathers, and he said that, you know, men aren't emotional. For a man to be very emotional with a child, and I know this sounds crazy, but he has to like the woman. If this is a woman that he just laid with one night and a
thought
baby
about
came,
that.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm talking about psychological. I'm
Mentally,
talking about
yes.
mental. The fact
They
is
don't connect because they're
they
not bonded.
do not connect.
No, I understand
I
that.
used to, and I just
So
learned
that's
this.
why they can have a child and never see it.
Yeah, a man can have a child with a woman and never see that child. And most of us as women, we want to say, well, God, he's a dog. But let me tell you something. I am here to tell you as a woman, that is not true.
But
okay?
also,
It's not true. A man has to really like that woman and really respect her. So what we need to do as women is start protecting ourselves and be very careful who you lay with.
Yes.
I'm sorry, because in the end, everybody keeps saying, well, the child gets hurt. Well, so does the woman, because you're the one raising the kid by yourself.
But
you're
she put herself in that predicament.
Yeah, you're the one. And
she
I'm tired.
knows.
Yeah.
She knows that everything goes in her. If she doesn't know that by now, she will be the one that gets pregnant if she doesn't know that by now. And you will meet men that say, I want to put a baby up in you and all that. I wasn't, I didn't think that was a compliment at all.
I say run. When a man says that,
I would say
run.
Run.
Okay.
Because being a single mom is no joke. My mother raised 5. It's no joke. Yeah. Maybe that's why I don't have any now. Yeah. It's no joke. It's not a party. It's not a party for the kids. It's struggle after struggle after struggle.
But that just shows you old school. Before you lay down with someone, be in love. What's wrong with loving somebody? Be in love, because believe me, 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, however way you do it, okay, or 30 minutes or an hour can be a lifetime of hell for somebody, okay? So be really specific.
I think some people, we need to read too. I just read Warwick Dunn's book. I read Tiki Barber's book. I read Jerome Bettis' book, but Warwick Dunn's book, his mom, he's from one father. I think it's 3 different fathers they have, and they're extremely close. But the mother, she was murdered at a young age. But it's deep because I wanted him to talk about in his book about how he felt. I know him and his father really don't have a relationship. He did say the second brother, his father is in his life, and he kind of envied that. You know, but it does hurt the children, you know. But, I mean, they love their mom, and they don't really talk about that being raised by a single mom, but it's a struggle.
But, I mean, all I'm saying is that we have to stop blaming the men. We need to start taking control. This is a show about women. You know, we're talking about women. Close your legs. So, close your legs, okay? And, I mean, like I said, I don't want to knock the men, because I spent my whole life talking about men. But you know what? It's not always the men. And that's all I want to say. As women, we have to be very specific who we lay with, because we're going to be the ones that are going to be suffering, and the children. Yeah.
But you do have more and more, you say men can walk away, but there are more and more women walking away from their children. I've met quite a few single fathers, and the mom got married and moved on, so some women don't connect as well.
I agree with that.
You know, but bottom line, we carry the load.
We do.
So we need to think about it.
And then you want to get mad when the man never liked you in the first place. And that's the thing. You know, he saw you, he liked what he saw, he wanted to sleep with you, and that's it. He thought nothing else about you.
But you know what? Unfortunately, like how I was saying, everybody needs to take the responsibility and mentor. And mentoring doesn't mean you have to spend all your time with them, but you just speak life into them, give them some tips. Who's telling the young girls that?
This is true.
If you're 12, if you start having sex when you're 12 years old, your mom doesn't know you're having sex. You're not our age, so you don't know. You're not thinking about, oh, well, if I get pregnant by him, he only wants to sleep with me because that's all. You're not thinking that. You don't know. So it's our responsibility. Let's not talk about them, because if no one has told them, how will they know?
This is true.
What we need to do is, let's not talk about people. Let's not talk about the men and young girls. Let's educate them. We have to start young, because she doesn't know that.
She don't know.
And then he doesn't even know what he's doing.
You're right.
He just has these hormones raging, and the little boy's just like, I mean, what I'm going to do, you know? So they're just performing this act, and they don't know anything about it. So we have to educate them. It needs to be our responsibility. Those of us who are mentally stable, like us.
And that's another situation.
You know what I mean? Okay. You know, if you mentally, just keeping it real. Okay. If you're mentally stable, then you need to take time out.
Not on Prozac. What is it, Prozac?
Yeah, a lot of us on Prozac.
Zoloft.
Some stuff, you know, that's okay, because hopefully those people are getting help. But those of us who are healthy-minded, we need to look out for those, for the young girls and the young guys, and men too.
And that's why we're talking about it.
To the young boys.
That's right. And that's why we're talking about this today.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
If somebody's tired of being sick and tired, then they need to just say, look, I want to make a change. I don't want to. If you're hanging around those people that go to the party just to pick up a guy, stop going to the parties with them. You know,
change
you have
up
to
your circle.
Sometimes you have to change up your circle.
And that's the hard part. I went to a prayer meeting today, and that's what they talked about. You know, a lot of us all have friends that are very negative. We all have source people in our family, friends. We need to learn to start walking away. I mean, and that's something I think that's hard. When you look at the celebrities, they seem to always have a problem. You know, it's sometimes you don't want to cut people off. You still want to love them, but sometimes you can love people from a distance, and that's something we need to work on. If you got a brother that's selling drugs, not trying to be smart, but you can love him on the telephone. Okay, I mean, there's just certain things that we as Black people, we love, you know, we're such a loving race of people.
We are.
We do. And we know that somebody's doing wrong, and we still say, you know what, this person's a drunk, but you know what, this